Give me the next 20 minutes and I will show you exactly how I got these results from my clients on LinkedIn. Most people think of LinkedIn as a digital resume. It's just a place where you go and put your previous job history and employers will come and find you. That may have worked in the past, but as of 2 to 3 years ago, that's just not how it works anymore. LinkedIn is becoming more like all the other social platforms that are governed by an algorithm that is trying to keep people on the platform and get as many people on the platform as possible. So it rewards people who consistently put out really good content for a specific group of people. And if you can do that successfully, you can get opportunities in your inbox, you can connect with other people that will grow your network, and you can grow your personal brand to heights that you never thought possible. Speaking of follower count, that is one thing that a lot of people get hung up on. But at the end of the day, you want 1,000 true fans as opposed to 100,000 passive scrollers. So you want to optimize all of your content and your posts for the 1,000 people that will stick with you and look for your posts every day, because that's what's going to make a difference. LinkedIn rewards 3 things: consistency, value, authenticity. The platform is hungry for real insights from real people. So how do you get started? Well, number one, you want to start with your profile. You want to make it look as good as possible, because you need to think of it like a landing page. When you're out there on the timeline engaging with people that you like and with content that you like, those comments and those likes are going to draw people to your page. And so when they land on your page, you want to make it as valuable and as aesthetically pleasing as possible. And there's a few key areas to focus on. So number one will be your profile picture. You want it to be a high quality picture, not pixelated, not of you eating food unexpectedly. You want to make it look as professional and as like you as possible. It doesn't mean you have to wear a tie and a suit, but it means that you have to look how you would look if you're getting on a Zoom call with a prospective client or an employer. That's ideally how you want to come across. If you smile a lot, smile in your picture. If you don't smile, you feel more comfortable not smiling, don't smile. But make sure that you have a high quality picture. That's a super important part. The second part is your banner. You want to make it doesn't have to be something super professional, but it does have to reflect who you are. So here's a few examples of some banners that kind of advertise what this influencer is trying to push people toward, a product, a service, etc. Or you could go this way and just have it, a picture of something that's important to you. Maybe it's an engagement photo, etc. Any and all good options. Banner is not as important as your profile picture, but it is important to have something there. Third is your description. So for this, you want to show your most recent experience or why people should follow you. Ideally, you'd have both. Here's a few examples of some people that do this well. You don't want to put too much content in here, just become a little bit too busy, but bare minimum is your current title and or what you follow. About section, I'm not super hung up on the about section. Ideally, you'd have a couple sentences in there, but most people don't really look at that. I wouldn't put too much time into about. For the featured section, I would put stuff in featured. So if you have a product or service, newsletter sign up, etc., this is where you would put that. And then the other stuff that I would add in here is like a booking link if you want to book calls through LinkedIn. But mostly I would just add your top performing content or the content that explains who you are. There's just content that you like. You can put that here. So you want your top 3 things. Ideally, you have a call to action and then 2 really well-performing posts in this section. Now, throughout all of this, you want to optimize for keywords. So the stuff that you talk about on LinkedIn, you want to scatter those keywords throughout your profile, because LinkedIn's algorithm does push your content according to what's in your profile. So if you, for instance, talk about business development in a post, if you have business development sprinkled throughout your profile, that post is going to get more reach and it's going to be pushed towards other business development people or your ideal client. So you want to optimize your profile with keywords. Just think of it like SEO. So pick 2 or 3 topics, get 2 or 3 keywords out of those topics, and then your about section, your header, etc. All this stuff, your job descriptions, sprinkle those keywords in and you'll get better results. Now, talking about job descriptions, you don't have to list everything, but especially for jobs that you're trying to get or clients that you're trying to get, you want to focus on those jobs and put as much content in there as possible that leans into those keywords. A lot of people overlook this part, but I wouldn't, because it affects your algorithmic performance on the platform. And it's just another good point of social proof that people will look for. Like your resume, you want to have as many action words and results in there as possible. 2 to 3 lines per job description is ideal. And lastly, the other thing I would focus on is recommendations. So I would give out as many recommendations as you can. It's a goodwill thing. For one, people that land on your profile can see the recommendations that you give. So number one, it's a indication of who you are as a person, what you write about that person, says stuff about you. And then when you give out recommendations, you can also ask for recommendations. And the more of those you have, the more trust that you'll build, more social proof. And it's a really practice to do that not enough people do on the platform. So now what to post? So you've got your profile optimized. You know why you want to be on this platform. The third thing is, what do you even start with? And this is where a lot of people get hung up. It doesn't have to be complicated. The way I would recommend that you start out is you want to be known as the person for a thing. For instance, I have positioned myself as the leadership guy in the industrial space. So for me, now that I've established that one thing, I can start building content out from that. For you, if you don't even know if you want to be the person for one thing, maybe you're in a career that you don't really like, but you just want to start putting feelers out, trying to grow an audience while trying to figure out what you're talking about at the same time. A good place to start is to start with what you consume. You know, if you're on Pinterest, if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, pick 2 to 3 creators that you just love their stuff and you watch every single video or every single post and just copy what they do. You like it, so obviously you can talk about it. You don't have to be an expert to talk about it. It's an important point, but you do want to have 2 or 3 clearly defined things that you talk about. So, you know, for instance, if you like Dan Koe, Eddie Kwan, Tim Stoddard, you know, you're going to be talking about business, you're going to be talking about personal development, and you're going to be talking about some form of writing. I would look for 2 or 3 people, and I will link to a prompt that I use that helps pull out what those topics might be, and then you can use that for yourself. That's a little bit of homework that will help you know what to post. Okay, so now that you know what to post, we come down to the when and, you know, what type of posts to make. So, you know, you have your topics. Ideally, you want to have 2 to 3 for each of the 3 main areas. You know, you're gonna have like 8 to 10 different subtopics that you talk about. Now, it's like, how do you package that up and get it out? Frequency is 1 time per day. In the past on LinkedIn, the general guidance was don't post more than once a day. I think that's no longer the case. I've seen people with really good growth post twice per day. So if you want to post twice per day, great. I think once per day is a minimum. There's a few reasons for that. So number one, when you start engaging with people, trying to grow on the platform, you want to pick people that are also posting once per day. Because if you guys are helping each other along, commenting on each other's posts, you don't want to be the one that drops the ball and they don't have anything to comment on yours. Because when you comment on other people's stuff before you post, it helps algorithmically. So I think the number's like 20. You want to hit 20 posts or comments per day before you post. So posting once a day is going to be helpful algorithmically and also helpful for engaging with other people that you're growing with. Secondly, if you post once per day, you're just going to get better at writing and you're going to get better at content creation and you're going to get more feedback on what's working, what's not working. It's a bare minimum. So it might seem like a lot right now, but if you just get it in your head that my head's going to explode if I don't post once per day, you're going to do it and it's going to become easy. It's not going to be easy at first, but you do it for a week or 2 weeks and it's just going to become second nature. It's going to feel weird if you don't do it. So you need to start doing it and stay doing it because that consistency really builds the trust that we talked about earlier. Anyway, posting once per day. What kind of format do you post your subtopics once per day? I think about it in 3 buckets. So personal, authority, and competence. For personal, this is gonna be like 10%, like 1 post a week. And it doesn't have to be like what you ate for breakfast or pictures of your family. It can, but it's basically something that's not business related, but is going to shed a little bit more light on who you are as a person. You know, it could be your take on a news event, something that's like in pulp culture that you like, a new movie that's coming out. Anything that builds a little bit more trust in that you're a human and not a bot on LinkedIn. Once per day. Second is authority. This is going to be about 60% of what you post, 3 to 4 days a week. It's going to be establishing you as the guy in your field for whatever topic that you're talking about. So this is going to be like how-tos, predictions for the future in your niche. It's going to be a spin on topics that are happening in your area, like what you think of them as an authority in the area. So it's basically in your mind and your audience's mind, establishing you as the go-to person for this. Like, who are the main players? Talk about them. How do you bring insight into this world? How do you do certain things that are interesting to these people? That's authority. Third is competence. Competence is going to be, what we say, 10, 60, it's gonna be like 30%. So 2 days a week-ish, you're gonna be talking about results that you've gotten for you or your clients. So competence is basically, I can get this done for you because I did it for these people or for myself. You know, if you're just starting out and you don't have results yet, you can just start doing little micro experiments and talk about what you're doing and what you're seeing in your own life. If you're a fitness influencer, show your routine, show the results that you're getting. If you're already an established business owner, it's all easier because you've been doing this for a while. You have results, you know, if you have any success at all. And so that's what competence is, talking about that. And then, you know, to package that up, there's different formats that work better than others on LinkedIn, and that infographics work really well. Infographics and cheat sheets, something that's just a visual representation. Here's a few examples here of things that perform well. Other thing is carousels work pretty well. And this is for detailed information. If you think about thread on X or Twitter, that's what this would work into. It's topics like 7 to 10 things you want to get semi-decently detailed in. Carousel works really well for that. Video, LinkedIn has started prioritizing video. It doesn't do super well, but it does establish you as a real person, and it establishes trust, which is super important. The other thing is just long form and short form text posts with images. Like, you never want to put just text. Sometimes I'll do it, not a huge return, but if you put some kind of aesthetically pleasing text or image with that text, it's going to perform way better. And throughout all of this, at the end of the day, you want to work in your personal stories. We even talked about how to. You want to really talk about how I. Going forward, the new moat in an AI world is going to be your personal brand and who you are as a person. You want to, like, your spicy takes, your contrarian takes, why you think something differently than everyone else thinks, your personal story, etc. That sort of stuff is always going to do better than generic advice. So throughout all of this, that's going to be a very key component. All right, so now that you've got the what do you post, kind of the how do you post, we'll move on to like building up your network and growing. So you've got the really good content that gives you energy that you post about every single day. Now you want to get people's eyeballs on it. And the best way to do that is a top of the funnel activity. There's 3 different tactics to use. Number 1, just send out connection requests. So you want to be sending 5 to 10 of those a day. There is an upper limit, and you will hit it if you do this, but it's fine. It'll just tell you, you can't connect with any more people this week. But you want to be sending those out 5 to 10 a day to the people that you want to connect with, that are either your ICP or someone that's also in your field that you just want to engage with. Once you send that connection request, you do want to follow up with, within like 24 hours with a message if they accept. Be like, hey, thanks for connecting, blah, blah, whatever you want to say. My only advice here is just like, don't be salesy, just like be a real human. The worst LinkedIn messages I get, it's like try to sell me right off the bat, and they're from someone that I don't necessarily have a relationship with. So open up the dialogue first and just be a human being. Secondly, you want to engage on large accounts that you like, and there's a couple reasons for this. The first reason is, if you like their stuff and want to add thoughts to it, that's really cool. It helps you identify your thought patterns and why you think about certain things in certain ways. The other is it gets more eyeballs on your stuff. If it's a large account, 500,000, 1 million follower accounts, they're going to get a lot of eyeballs. And if you comment on it, which very few people do, you will get those eyeballs on your post, which will take them to your page, and you'll probably get a connection request and or a follow, which is great. A couple comments there is, don't just leave AI generated comments. Be a human being. You want to be as you as possible. It's okay to add an AI comment as long as it's not terrible. Like, actually add to the conversation and avoid stuff like, I love this. This is great. Thank you. All that stuff is just noise. No one's going to click on your profile for those kind of comments. If you have a contrarian take to what they said, use that. If you have a story about what they said, definitely use that. That's the kind of stuff that's going to get people to want to follow you. Third, you want to comment and engage with people that are in the same boat as you, trying to grow, and you want to do this every single day. Ideally before you post your first post. So you want to engage like 15 minutes every day. This does a couple things. Number 1, it grows your network. It helps people that are in the same boat as you. Secondly, it warms up the algorithm for your post. When it sees you posting on the timeline, it will push out whatever you post with better results. This is definitely a real thing. I see it every day with my clients. If I post on another account, they get better results. And I think a bare minimum is I would comment on 5 accounts and I would send 5 connection requests at the end of the day. And this is going to grow your following. No two ways about it. Finally, some common mistakes to avoid. You don't want to post and ghost. Number 1. There's nothing worse than just posting and not replying to your comments. It doesn't build trust, it doesn't build a network, it doesn't endear yourself to anyone who deigns to comment on your stuff. It's just good manner. It will provide you with a ton more content if you actually read what people say and respond to it in a thoughtful manner. That's going to give you a ton of really good ideas. This is where I get a lot of ideas, honestly, for my clients. Is I will look at stuff people will post on their accounts, and then I will read. Sometimes my clients will answer that themselves, and I get a ton of content ideas from that. It's so valuable. Don't skimp on this part. Number 2, don't use hashtags. They don't really work anymore, and it just looks bad. AI will add these in automatically, and it's just a sure sign that you're using AI. Just EMDAT or the it's not this, it's that framework. There's some clear ways, I'll probably make a video about this later, how to tell if something is AI, and hashtags are definitely one of those things. The other thing is you don't want too many outbound links in your content. The algorithm prioritizes keeping people on the platform. That's why really well written stuff and eye-catching images work, because it keeps people on that post for a longer period of time, which will boost it. So social media platforms make money with ads, and they can sell more ads if there's more people on the platform for longer. So they want really good content that keeps people on the platform. When you're sending people off the platform with your link, it's no bueno. They're going to heavily weight that as a bad post and not send it out. So a way to get around this is to edit it a couple hours after you make the post and put in your link then, and it doesn't seem to make a difference at that point, and or put the link in a comment under your main post. That's a really good way to do it as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, if you follow this advice, you are your unique self as much as possible online, which should always be your goal. You're going to build a network really fast, and you're going to sell more of whatever you're trying to sell, whether that's just yourself as a thought leader or it's an actual product. If you follow this stuff, you're going to set yourself apart immediately, because most people don't do this stuff. They use AI comments, they don't post consistently, and their stuff is just garbage. It's either totally copied from someone else or it's AI slop that looks like every other AI slop that everyone else is doing. So by following these tips, you're already in the top 1%, and it's going to make a huge difference. Later.